Oh, bread is so much better than this.
German town. I woke up a bit earlier than usual, so I figured I'd stop at the McDonald's for some breakfast. I got my food, and I was sitting at one of the tables by the entrance. It's pretty early, so I was the only customer in the restaurant. I also had my headphones in watching a YouTube video on my iPad. Someone interrupts me with a good morning, which was odd, seeing as I'm in Germany. Why not Guten Morgen? It was an older woman, perhaps 50, with an open beer bottle in her hand. Not that that's too unusual over here, apart from maybe the time of day. She tells me there's no one at the counter to serve her. When I inform her in German that I did not work there, she refused to believe me. She says, "But you're Indian." I said, "So? Indians all have shit jobs," she replied. She then started to raise her voice, ranting that since I didn't work at McDonald's, I didn't work anywhere, and that immigrants were ruining Germany. She wasn't done yet though, as she saw fit to spit in my tray and told me to lick it. By then, the manager had come over, so she'd heard the rant and witnessed the spitting. She asked me if I wanted to call the police. I did, but I also had a job to get to, so I declined. I'm a teacher, and there are exams today, and I promised a revision class, so if I didn't make it in or was delayed, the students would be screwed. I'm not sure how it ended. The manager replaced my whole meal for free, which was nice because I pretty much finished. Guess I'm having some...
Hashtag this happened. It's totally happened.
Next for the day. This story is called Berated in Chili's Lobby by Manager. When I was in college, around the turn of the century, I was meeting some friends at Chili's. In retrospect, it's kind of funny we ate there a lot. I haven't been in one in 18 years. I was wearing jeans and a red polo shirt, and apparently this was the brand new Chili's uniform, and you can probably guess where this is going. This was before smartphones, so I was kind of just sitting in the waiting area, zoned out and staring off into the distance when suddenly I'm being yelled at. The voice said, "Get up, what do you think you're doing?" I instinctively stand up, thinking I had sat on someone's child or something. The guy then said, "What makes you think you can just sit around?" This was when I realized that it was the manager of Chili's, and he was very angry. It took him another 30 seconds of yelling before he realized that I don't work there, and I'm in fact a customer. I didn't stop him, as I was kind of amused once the shock wore off. I could tell by the look on his face that he had suddenly realized that I wasn't an employee. He was mortified and gave us a nice discount on our meal. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of I Don't Work Here, Lady. I hope you guys enjoyed these stories and found them entertaining. If you guys liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also, sharing the video would be really helpful. See you guys in the next one.
What's good, everybody? Salty here.
Oh my gosh, there's like a million of these channels that just read shit. What fucking bums.
Hey guys, welcome to an episode of the subreddit.
This Dark Fluff is the least horrible one of these channels.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Reddit Pro Revenge. In this episode, I've got some really awesome stories for you guys. I hope you stay for all of them and subscribe for future videos. This story's titled
Wait a fucking second. Yeah, that's what I thought. Why are there so many of these fuckers out here? Oh, I see. Fucking Christ, man.
Why you shouldn't brag about your legal activities to people who don't like you much. I started renting a house 5 years ago. I had always lived in apartments and I was excited to finally have some space and privacy. This was ruined within the first week by my asshole neighbor, and he made my 4 years at the house miserable. He's in his late 40s or 50s, and despite seeming like a fully functional adult, he's never lived outside of his parents' home. He spends every possible minute cleaning or admiring his truck, so he practically lives in the driveway. When he isn't bragging about some asshole move that he just pulled on someone, he's hitting on the wives and daughters of anyone who's on the street. I moved in during the winter and started noticing footsteps in my yard in the morning. I found out that he was walking into my yard to look into my windows to see what I was watching or playing at night. I bought a simple security system and put a few cameras up, and this stopped. Then he started mowing my side yard. He would mow it the day after I did. I asked my landlord about this, and I was told that Mike, the creepy neighbor, considered it his property and kept arguing about the property line. It's just grass, so I let it go. If I had guests over, he would stare at them and sometimes make comments when I wasn't around to hear him. If I was in the backyard, he would have a reason to be in his backyard. If I was in the house or front yard, he would be in his driveway where he can see into my living room.
Oh my god. Fucking hell, that is a hell cool. I completely regret doing that. That was... that was bad.
If I was mowing the yard, he would get out a lawn chair and sit and watch, putting it away as soon as I was done. It came to a head when I caught him sending his dog into my front yard one morning to do its business, instead of letting it out in his fenced backyard like he normally would. I told him to stay on his side of the property line, and he said that he was going to break into my house and smash my cameras and my computer. The cops were called, and he got off with a warning. Last fall, I told my landlord that I was going to move out. During the conversation, I found out that Mike was on workers' compensation for an injury that he got at work. He was now bragging about how he was using his workers' compensation checks to help set up his own under-the-table landscaping business. My landlord, like most of the neighborhood, doesn't really like Mike. The landlord's son and family live across the street, and Mike has hit on his wife a few times over the years, and he has started to try to talk to their 17-year-old daughter. I waited for a day where he had his new work truck and trailer with his name and number on the door, and I made a video of him working on his yard and carrying 50 bags of mulch and climbing ladders. I sent videos and pictures to the fraud department of the workers' compensation office. Today, I just found out that he was found guilty of fraud. He's ordered to pay back every dollar and may end up in jail. I'm happily living in a new place that has lots of land between me and the neighbors. This story's titled, She Moved Out Next Week. Just to clarify, in the particular city I was living in at the time, noise control can be called out at any time of the day. So this happened about 15 years ago, give or take, when I was still a kid living at home. We had a house with a huge backyard in the suburbs. The neighboring property next to our driveway was a set of 3 attached rental flats, each with their front door facing our house. We were usually good friends with most of the neighbors, the flats next door included. After the family in the middle flat left, an older single woman moved in. She was home more often than not, so I doubt she had a job, and wasn't particularly friendly. She kept to herself, which is fine, and never really acknowledged any of the neighbors, but whatever, that's cool. So one Saturday around midday, I was out back with a lawnmower earning myself some pocket money. It was a big yard, so about 20 minutes in, I was only about halfway done, and suddenly a noise control officer knocked on the door. He tells me to hurry it up and that they'd received a complaint, and though they thought it was ridiculous, they had to say something. A bit stupid, but whatever. Now, we weren't a loud family, not at all. No parties, no screaming, or anything like that. Over the next month, we kept getting visits from noise control. Always during the day, mind you. We would get visits for mowing the lawns, and even had a couple of complaints about when my younger sister and I were playing and hanging out in the backyard on weekends. Again, we weren't that loud. At the time, I would have been about 13, so more often than not, the boy next door and I would just be chilling on the swings, just talking. Not loud, just being outside. Now, we'd never had an issue with the noise. None of our neighbors ever had a problem. We never had noise control called before now, so we asked around. It was fairly obvious at this point that the snobby cow that had moved into the flat next door was doing all of the complaining. My father would always stock up firewood in the summer to prepare for the winter, and would have to chop it up himself. It's the first weekend of chopping for the year, and it's about 2 p.m. on a Saturday. He pulls out his old chainsaw, and it's on for about a minute and a half at most before he realizes that the chain needs to be replaced. He turns it off, grabs the axe, and proceeds to chop the wood the long way. The next thing we know, noise control shows up. The officers are sick of having to visit at this point, and were pretty friendly with my dad by now. It turns out that yes, it was the new neighbor next door. It turned out she'd been an issue for them for a while, and that noise control was aware of her stupid complaints from her previous addresses. Unfortunately, they were legally obligated to follow through with them. Next weekend, surprise surprise, we get a visit after dad's been chopping some more wood with an axe. At this